I am standing here today with Mihailo from Giorgio's Prüm in Mosel, and we're going to be tasting the Systembolaget launches that will launch next week on Tuesday, the 15th of September. We'll be tasting the 2018 Graacher Himmelriech Kabinett, the 2012 Graacher Himmelriech Spätlese, and the 2011 Graacher Himmelriech Auslese.
Nice. Welcome, Riesling lovers. I'm Mihailo. I'm the export manager from JJ Prüm at the Mosel, and I'm happy to introduce three different wines to you.
I will pour the wine and you can talk about it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you. So there we go. We have the Kabinett, which is our driest category. Probably would taste off-dry for you. And from the vintage 2018, beautiful vintage with lots of fruit and good acidity, very nice balanced. And yeah.
18 was quite a warm summer in the Mosel as well, right?
It was in fact.
Yeah.
It was in fact. And the thing that surprised us most was that despite the heat and the sun and the actually dry weather, we have a beautiful and lush fruit, which provides a lot of energy and drinking pleasure, and presents themselves very open right now. And it doesn't seem that they will close down in future.
Yeah, on the nose I get a lot of citrus, green apples, I get a lot of stone fruits like peaches and apricots almost. It has a lovely floweriness to it as well.
Yeah.
And then there is a salinity in this wine that really makes me go crazy. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I like it when you go crazy, so go on. It's, yeah. So all our wines are basically about these three things, like the fruit, the acidity, and the minerality. And if those three components are in balance, this is what we want to achieve in our wines. And then we have the balance and the drinkability and the...
Right.
Yeah.
It's easy to drink a lot of this wine because it's so
That's true.
drinkable.
Yeah.
On the palate, I perceive it as off-dry, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
It has a very fresh, very high acidity, and the flavor is following the nose on the palate as well. And the length, it's amazing. It's like so long.
This is what should linger always in our wines, not the sweetness, but the minerality. If you swallow the wine, you will have the sensation after 3, 4, 5 seconds that the sweetness is gone, and you have the minerality and the place, which is in this particular wine, the Graacher Himmelriech.
Yeah.
And this is what you want.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Mm.
Okay, good. We're going on to the Graacher Himmelriech Spätlese 12. What was the vintage 12 like?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So, well, talking about the vintage, we have, well, not as much sun and not as much heat as in 2018. It was cooler, it's more of a classic vintage. We had, actually it was rather cooler vintage, with a very warm and sunny finish. So the harvest time was bright and sunny, and helped to lift the sugar levels in the grapes.
Right.
And therefore you have very smooth, very elegant wines in 2012. But always with the backbone of this minerality that helps to create this great balance in the wines.
Right. And the Spätlese, can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So Spätlese, as the second category of our predicats wine levels, has evidently more sugar and more intensity. It was harvested slightly later, just about 1 or 2 weeks, and has a little bit more body than the Kabinett. And the Spätlese category has here a taste of from off-dry to half-dry, and if we have a try, you have the intensity of the sugar, but after 8 or 7 years of aging now, it's slightly starts to change now. It's not that fruity sugar, it's turns more into a body, into texture. And this is also the process that we have in our wines, from sugar and fruit into body, minerality, smoothness, the smokiness, and this you have in the glass definitely.
Right.
Slowly starting to come out.
I completely agree. The feeling is definitely that of a body and not of sweetness. If we talk about the nose quickly, the thing that really hit me in this is it has a beautiful, beautiful nose. I almost get hints of saffron. Which is really nice. And then for me, the fruit is going towards more mature fruit, like warmer fruits, such as apricots and maybe dried peaches, or almost like, you know what? If you'd have an orange marmalade, and if you'd add a little bit of ginger to that type of marmalade, I really get, on the nose, I really get something like that. So
I get the idea, yeah. So this is the process that we have from a lush and fresh fruit, like in the Kabinett 2018, to a more dried, infused like spiciness, marmalade, ginger. You have more components, and that's why we always emphasize to and explain to store, give the wine simply a little bit more time.
Absolutely, they're completely worth it.
Absolutely, and they will outlast us all for sure. And the aromas will change from fresh and fruity to a little bit more dried, smoky picture, and then they will go on and on.
But this still, like smelling this, it gives me new notes all the time. It also has a little bit of lilies and other like white flowers. It still has that perfuminess in it.
Yeah, so
good.
Yeah, it simply retains more complexity with age, and it's definitely worth waiting.
Also, very, very long, with a nice and full-bodied finish, but it doesn't linger on the sweetness.
No.
You want another sip.
Again, yeah, very good. We finished it also.
Well, we will. Okay. So the last wine out today is the 11 Graacher Himmelriech Auslese. What was the 11 vintage like, Mihailo?
Well, 2011 was very good, both in quantity and quality, and so the category itself, so talking about the vintage, we had good quantity, good quality, and a very smooth vintage. It's kind of a everybody's darling vintage, and maybe a little bit underrated at the beginning. But Prüm wines, they simply, it's a question also of time. So if you give them a couple of years, especially in the Auslese category, it's worth it. So we had basically a sunny, a very easygoing harvest. So it was great. It was, the health of the grapes was picture book like. You could choose whichever day you wanted. So it was super healthy. We were very, very happy, and there was also the whole array of Predikat wine. So very good vintage. Talking about the Auslese, the third category now, from Kabinett to Spätlese to Auslese. Now we hit a higher level of sugar. And still the focus of, or the goal for Prüm is to have this balances in the wines. Despite the third category. We still don't consider the Auslese as a dessert wine, but more as a wine that you pair with spicier food, or food with more taste, fat, maybe garlic infused, all these things, because you have more sugar. At the same time, you buffer spiciness and fat in the food, and that's a perfect correlation.
When you pour this wine, I mean, it's 9 years old, and it still looks like it's young, like it was bottled just the other year. Which is really, really amazing. And this sensation, like, it's like, is this an optical illusion? No, it's not, because when you put your nose in it, or at least when I put my nose in it, it's so fresh. Like, there are still primary fruits here. I get a lot of pears, green apples, white flowers, really, really high intensity on the nose. The only thing that for me speaks that it could have a little bit of age, obviously it has a little bit of age, but it is that it has a little bit of spiciness in there that you can't pick up in the younger wine generally.
Yeah.
But
that little honeysuckle maybe.
yeah,
Spiciness.
yeah, exactly. And then on the palate, as you say, and it also has this really, really nice minerality, the salinity that we felt in both the Spätlese and the Kabinett. And on the palate, it's again you feel that the wine does have some sugar, but it doesn't feel super sweet. It's just more that it has a body. It's like in your mouth telling you, I'm here now, and then when you swallow, or well, I spat it out, then it just keeps on going and going and going. It's amazing. It's really, really nice.
Yeah, so the length should improve with the categories of the wines. And the Kabinett is bright, it's wild, it's fruity. It really makes you drink more and more. But with the category getting higher with Spät and the Auslese, you have more complexity, more body, and more length, obviously. And it lingers, simply. It lingers and lingers. And Auslese, obviously, you should wait plus minus a decade.
Yeah, right.
That it really pays off.
I should say just another, because this still feels so young. This will definitely outlive me. Oh yes, and it will perform better.
We will killed it before, so
anyway. We'll finish this.
So Auslese is definitely a decade, the minimum, and then you go on just for decades. In Auslese, we talk about decades simply.
Yeah. I must say, I'm blown away about the minerality that comes through in the wines. It's so much. I guess it's the Graacher Himmelriech salt. Yeah,
it's slightly more looking to the west and profits definitely from climate change. The more west you get, from orientation-wise, the softer evening sunshine you have.
Right.
Hence, you have more minerality and a slightly greener expression of fruit. So, lovely wines. I love Graacher.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Cool.